Welcome back to Relationship Real Talk. We are with someone who is like my spirit animal, who I want to be when I grow up. Joneen Mackenzie. She started Center for Relationship Education, and we are so excited to talk to her today. So
we are. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
That's good. So Ashley, where we kicking it off? How we starting?
So I would just love to get your whole backstory on why you created the Center for Relationship Education.
Oh, what a story. Well, it was kind of a serendipitous, if you will. I was a nurse in the military as an ICU, CCU specialist. Mm-hmm. And then I married a doctor who in Denver, actually who was in the military, and then we moved to Denver so he could have a 7-year residency. And then I started having children, and I had 4 children in 6 years. And I said, oh my gosh, I cannot be a nurse and have this kind of high-powered nursing, right, with no flexibility as a mom.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm going to love on my kids. And I became very involved in the community, so much so that I became, when they were off to school, I became the PTA president, and I was the PTA president for several years. And my 7th grade son came home one day with a permission slip to learn about his body in science class. And I said, you're supposed to learn about your body in science class. Why am I getting a permission slip? And so I went to go see what they were teaching, and it was reproductive science. And all other science you can do by yourself. Reproductive science takes another person. And so they were doing reproductive science, body parts, plumbing, all that, and then contraception. And I said to the teacher, I think you're missing a piece. How do you get from here to there? And he said, well, I've been teaching this for 20 years, and this is the curriculum. And so I started to investigate the curriculum. And I started to look at some of the very graphic things that they had in there. Yeah. And I thought, I don't think I want my kid to be learning this flippant way of sex. You know, I just don't, they're not taking it seriously enough. So I was teaching Red Cross babysitting, I was teaching first aid, I was teaching CPR, and I was also doing a etiquette class for kids in middle school and high school with a high tea at the Brown Palace Hotel. Okay. So you know there was a waiting list for that. And then, so I had about 60, 65 kids that I was doing these enrichment classes for. So I called their parents, and I asked them if I could have their kids for an evening. I was going to serve them pizza, and I wanted to ask them some questions, and they said sure. So the kids came over and in my basement, and I had a flip chart paper, and this is in 1991.
Oh, great year.
That's my year that you were born. Anyway, so I just asked the kids after they finished eating, because you got to feed them first.
Of
right?
course, yes.
It's kind of like a given. It's a law.
Yeah. And then you got pizza. So
you got pizza.
And you did it.
Right, pizza and pop. And anyway, I said to them, my question was, what do you guys want to know about sex? And it was awkward crickets.
Jaws dropping.
Yeah. Like,
she said the thing.
Right. And nobody ever asks kids this. And I could have knitted a quilt with how long it took the first kid to answer. And here's what the first kid asked. And I feel like it was yesterday. And it still touches my heart when I tell this story. Because here's what he said. He said, Miss Mackenzie, does anybody stay together anymore? And I thought, oh my gosh, the loss, his soul was grieving. And I just said, I don't know. He said, well, my cousin's getting divorced. My cousin's family's getting divorced. My friend's family's getting divorced. I just don't think it's possible to have a long-term marriage. And then another kid said, well, how do you have a long-term marriage? What is the secret? And the other kid said, well, how do you pick a partner that you could live for? And all these questions started coming. I was writing them on a flip chart. And I had like 70 questions from 60 kids.
Wow.
And I thought, it lasted lasted 90 minutes. This whole thing lasted 90 minutes. I didn't get them home until 10 o'clock at night. and the conversations were amazing afterwards. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to find out the answers to these questions for you. I had no Google. I couldn't Google it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I went from library to bookstore, from library to book, and I was getting frustrated. There was nothing that would talk about relationship skill development with these young people. And then somebody said this to me. Have you tried the University of Denver? They actually have a repository of research about what makes relationships work and what makes relationships fail. And I thought, there's research about this?
And I've been doing this whole time.
Right?
Because this is how I did relationships.
Right.
Hi, I think you're cute.
Right. Oh,
I like your car.
yeah.
I think your mom, you have potential, right? Silly. I mean, we do it by feelings.
Right. Yeah.
We do it by the pitter patter of our heart. And guess what? Feelings come and go.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted the science of all this. So I parked myself at the University of Denver. I became beyond a groupie. I became a stalker. and made friends with the professors over there, which we all know in the marriage field now, who are very famous. And I said, I need 5 skills for friendship because I'm going back to teach my kids 7th grade class. And I really want to start with friendship. And so they gave me the 5 skills. And because I'm a visual learner, I put them in fun activities, gamified it, everything.
Yes.
And went back and asked the teacher if I could teach. And they had to say yes. I raised a ton of money for the school. And they kind of were obligated to say yes. And so they gave me 5 days. And the kids were mesmerized by the fun experiential activities. And then they wanted more. So I went back to DU. I got some more skills and came back, and they kept giving me more time. And then now I'm involving the parents. And I'm living in Evergreen, Colorado, which is a small town. And the parents are like, what are you doing to our kids? They're coming, they're talking to us about this. They're telling us, they're teaching us what you're teaching them. And so a parent brought in the Denver Post. They did a cover story on the Denver and the West section. And within a year, I got calls from 40 schools. I was wearing myself out.
Wow.
And I realized I had a nerve. I said, something's going on here. And so I took out a loan and I called in curriculum writers and focus group specialists, people who do focus group, professional focus group people. I brought in graphic designers. I brought in child pedagogy. I mean, who does curriculum? I'm not a nurse. So that's how this curriculum was born. And then, it took a long time to focus group all the activities, to get more stuff, to go into, now we did the middle school curriculum, and then we did the high school curriculum, then we did the college curriculum, now we have a marriage curriculum, we have a workplace relationship curriculum, Real Essentials Connect. And so we now, after 20, 30 years, we realized that this met a need. We're now in 47 states and 7 countries. We utilize the train the trainer model because we realize we need to have a cast of thousands if we want to do direct services. So we train the trainers. It's not rocket science to teach this. Teachers, when they get trained, and you've been to training, so you know they always say this, where were you when I was 16? Where were you? Because I made several mistakes, and I'm on my 3rd marriage, and my finances are a mess, and my kids are going from hither to yon to, as much as we want adults to be happy, we really need to think about what's happening to kids when we split up families. And sometimes divorces have to happen. Sometimes, there's danger. Sometimes there's real toxicity, and we don't want to have marriage just for marriage's sake. But wouldn't it be nice if we teach this next generation, one, how to value marriage, because they value cohabitation.
A lot.
Right? They value cohabitation like a test drive, but they don't value marriage. And there's some reasons why, because they've been hurt, right? And they're adult children of divorce, and they go, I saw what happened with courts and money and fighting. I don't want that, right? And you got to give them credit. They know what they don't want. What they don't know how is to get what they really want.
Yes.
So that's what we try to do. We try to give them what the longing of our heart is to be loved well. right? That's the longing of our heart. And it doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter who we love. It doesn't matter, what our life experience is, what our color is, what our shape is, what our age is. Everybody needs this.
Right.
So that's where it started. And it was very serendipitous. But we built, I knew I was actually bouncing around using the curriculum with other nonprofits. I kind of parked myself at a nonprofit in Denver that was very big in mentoring. And I thought, I don't think I want the mentoring model. I think I want the trainer model. So I broke away from them. And then I went with another national organization that was headquartered in Georgia. And I thought, I don't really want to be with an organization in Georgia. And then I decided, I think I want to do my own thing. And so, it was a long time coming, trying to get your 501c3
Right.
and to develop your board and all of that. And so that happened in 2003. And now we're going on our 20-year anniversary. So very cool. Very cool.
Wow.
That's amazing.
One, I do want to ask, because like you said, 91 to now, I want to kind of get the other perspective of, okay, you have a mission, you had a goal, you see the finish line, but tell a little bit about the struggles of getting there. What were some of the bumpy roads? How did you go to sleep at night still having faith? Because you even mentioned taking out a loan. Putting all of that trust into your vision. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's, first of all, many people do that. They have a vision of something, and they're entrepreneurial, and they put a lot at risk. And that's what I did. I put a lot at risk. But, I just had faith that with the kind of response I was getting from parents and even teachers and the kids, for sure, I said, I think this is a need.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell something. I'm trying to meet a need. And that's different. So, I don't want to make a widget. I'm trying to make some, you're making mouse traps.
Right.
You're making something that is going to change the world and change a legacy.
Yeah.
And that's my heart. My heartbeat is to change a legacy. Because I come from a whole line of divorced